410 sprinters are also in the Selins Grove pits tonight. On the second lap of the feature, Brooke Wibley, number 32, slips underneath the one of Brian Nornhold into the lead. Brian would drop out, and the 39-year-old Wibley holds off slight challenges by second-place finisher Mike Eardley, number 117, plus a relocating nose wing for his first 410 win.
How does it feel? You're winning a 358, but now you're standing here beside a 410 sprint car.
Well, I don't think we're celebrating quite like I'd like to be right now, but the car became a real handful when the wing fell back, and I got pretty tired.
I'll tell you what, we noticed the nose wing coming down, and I understand you had trouble with the top wing in last Sunday's feature.
Yeah, actually, the whole spuds pulled right out of the frame last year. It wasn't a wing problem whatsoever, but, you know, same car, and it's going real well for us right now, and we're just real glad to be here.
Brooke, it's glad to see you here. I know you supported us all last year, and you've been here this year supporting Selins Grove Speedway. And, boy, you got out in front pretty early there. You got by Brian Nornhold. Did you have any idea what kind of a lead you had?
No, I had no idea. You know, I know Todd's real tough, and, you know, Mike Eardley can be real quick here on these type of tracks. And, you know, you got Kaufman and Todd Hester and everybody. And, you know, I just put my foot in it and tried to keep the tires hooked up and go by as fast as I could.
June 15th, New Egypt, New Jersey. Billy Pouch takes Governor Christine Todd Whitman for a spin.
That was great. I have a great deal of respect for the drivers, believe me. The way you have to set yourself up for the corners is impressive, especially with a track like this when you got a lot of slippage available to you, as we proved with the donuts there.
A full house for the first visit of the Pennsylvania sprint cars here to modified country. More of those beautiful Republican women. 34 racers have crossed the border. Judy Bates finds a little too much of that available slippage and organizes a small drivers meeting on the black dirt third mile. This show is promoted in part by Fred Rymer, who is a strong advocate of handicapping. So what's Fast Freddy doing starting on the front row? Anyway, it's fellow front row starter Billy Pouch, 55, leading every lap.
You starting on the pole didn't help them guys too much because you were gone.
Well, like I said before, I got to thank Gene Jenkins for putting me in the car and all the guys on the crew. I mean, driver ain't a driver without a race car under him, and they put a race car under me tonight. You know, we might have had home field advantage, but they give me a race car that we go forward and stick in the turns, and I think it showed tonight. Like I said, we won everything, and I mean, I was just happy if we could have got a top 5 tonight, beginning of the night, because I didn't, you know, new car and stuff not being in one for a while, but hey, it all comes back to you pretty quick, and running here every Saturday night I think was definitely an advantage.
P.J. Chesson finished second over Keith Kaufman. Fast Freddy mysteriously and perhaps wisely slipped to 6th. June 18th, the fastest of 31 sprinters take the green at Williams Grove.
Well, get ready, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime at Williams Grove Speedway. Green flag is out.
Sean Keane, 53, breaks free ahead of Jeff Rohrbach.
Sean Keane into the lead with 53.
Lap 15. Jeff Shepard completes his winning charge from 10th starting spot for his first Grove win of the season and 6th career.
I guess we have to be talking about Fred Rymer. I caught a lot of grief over bashing him at Lincoln the other week, but it's kind of a war we got going on, and he told me he was going to win both of them tonight, and he was going to be the first one out here to get to me, but I got to him first. How about it? Woo!
The United Racing Club, with a 40-car field, supplied the only 2 flips tonight at the Grove. That's Lance DeWeese. Tim Hogue crashes hard. Lap 14. Fred Rymer, number 77, started 20th, and here he is taking the feature lead from Jeremy Trout. This major accomplishment went down the tubes when bolt-on weight, illegal with URC, was found on the Hamilton Sprinter. So Shawn Michael was awarded the win, his 2nd consecutive with the club and 14th career, over Dave Gable and Trout. June 19th, 54 sportsmen at Silver Spring. Jim Shuttlesworth, driving the black Cumberland Auto Parts number 41, wires the field in just his 3rd appearance here in 1999. It's Big Jim's 6th career win here at the Spring. Carmen Perigo and Mark Smith followed. Over in Adams County at Lincoln, 36 URC sprinters joined 33 regular 410s for another full pit area in the Pigeon Hills. Becca Anderson's return to one of her home tracks was not a friendly one. Wild Bill Bryan is back with 2 cars. Here Wild Bill gets dumped during URC qualifying. Consi winner Kramer Williamson catches a tire and has heavy damage during the feature. The Pat Palladino number 99, driven by Shawn Michael, makes it 3 in a row in URC competition, slipping under leader Jimmy Stitzel, number 12, on the 13th lap. Shawn earned his 15th career win with the club, having started 12th.
You mentioned a step down. I'm not sure this is a step down. There's a heck of a lot of talent in this division. URC, a long-standing tradition, oldest traveling club. There's lots of talent here.
Yes, there's a whole lot of talent, but you know, when you're out racing Central PA in the 410s and you take a step down to the 360s, I mean, no matter how you look at it, I mean, Rymer's busted my chops last night in the front stretch, told me I'm back in URC because I couldn't make it in the big cars, and so, hey, if that's the way you want to look at it, I'm spending more time with my daughter, and that's the number one to me, and I mean, everything's just going great. I'm having a lot of fun, and these are a great group of people. I mean, the URC bunch, and it's a lot of fun.
Tonight's 410 qualifying will not be much fun for Al DeAngelis.
Problems on the backstretch for Al DeAngelis. He rolled up over the wheel of London Force.
Another look at Al's launch. He'll be back next week. Trouble on the start of the feature as Jeff Rohrball and Billy Sims both flip, trying to avoid a slowing Brian Monteith.
And the red flag out. We got off the turn. Jeff Schaeffer.
The long first lap continues with problems for James Chesson. Fred Rymer, 77, has moved up to 3rd after starting 12th, but now can he pass Jeff Shepard and Chris Aish? Shepard gives up 2nd on the 12th lap. Aish, 17, gives up the lead on the 18th. It's Freddie's 82nd Lincoln career win and his 8th of the season. Aish and, what's his name, followed.
Yeah, it was spinning the tires when I was trying to catch Chris and what's his name. It got a little intense.
Jeff started it last week. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I guess a Christian thing would do to be turn the other cheek, but everybody knows Shepard is Jeff the Jet. Everybody in the pits knows him as the Mouth from Maryland. Yeah, well, you know, I bust Jeff's balls, but he is a hell of a good racer, but he is a shithead, too.
June 20th, Selins Grove. Perrin Reisner, who is in his 2nd year with the Sprinters, prepares to take a ride in the family number 15. Jeff Shepard bumps the inside rail and blows the left front on the start of the feature. Jeff restarted clear on the back. Bob Bennett in the Mickle number 3 led for 7 laps before problems stopped him in turn 2. Brooke Wively, 32, led for 13 laps before Shepard completed his charge back through the 20-car field for his 4th win of the season here at Selins Grove. Todd Schaeffer and Keith Kaufman followed. Rymer's not in attendance tonight. What about that, Jeff?
Let's put it this way. I think he's in trouble if he comes up here. I think that's why he's not here, to be honest with you. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, him and I are kind of butting heads here and there, and I'm really looking forward to Speed Week. Tonight's a good night. You know, we have a little extra time on the racetrack more than he does, and we tried a different setup tonight. But I guarantee I'm ready for him to come here, and we'll just stand right here and talk all about it. How about it?
Green flag is out.
June 25th, Williams Grove.
Races into the lead at the start. Smith runs 2nd.
The first turn claims Rick Kaler and Mark Smith. Todd Schaeffer, 88, takes first from Brooke Wively on lap 8. Jeff Rohrball pulls it away from the rail, but onto the wing. Greg Hodnett, 12, has moved up to 2nd after starting 10th. Let's see what happens on the 19th lap restart. Fred Rymer will finish 3rd.
Hodnett makes a bid. Hardnett steals the lead. Todd wants it back. Who's it going to be in turn number 1? Watch the drag race into 1. Greg Hardnett takes the lead. Schaeffer does a wheelie. Hardnett's got the lead.
Greg, what were you thinking on the caution? The last time you won here, you did almost the same thing. I think it was Lance DeWeese that night. Did you figure Todd was going to try and take the bottom away from you?
Yeah, he's a real smart racer. I knew he was going to go low. I just had just enough room to squeeze by him in the guardrail and enter in turn 3 and slid him in front of him. And I knew it was slide job city from then on. So there was a couple going back and forth, but fortunately for the Apple Chevrolet team, we came out on top.
45 358 sprinters join the 27 410s tonight. Strong rookie go-kart graduate T.J. Stutz takes a spin. More qualifying action. '51-year-old Dan Dietrich, number 8, battles the blue U1 of Chad Layton for the feature lead.
Layton and Dietrich side by side in turn number 4. Dietrich into the lead. Dan Dietrich's got the lead.
Daring Dan led from the 5th lap to the 19th when a stalled car restarted the 20-lapper with 1 lap to go, and Chris Ace in that number 30 in 2nd. Doug Esch will finish 3rd.
Chris tries the low side. Dietrich's up top, side by side down the front stretch. We've got a new leader.
What'd you think racing with Dan Dietrich again? You two have gone at it so many times over the years at Lincoln Speedway and Susquehanna, of course, here at the Grove. There was Dietrich leading till the very last caution.
Well, I think it was his race. That caution wouldn't have come out. He was running the top. I was gaining on him, but I don't think I'd have caught him in them last 2 laps. Luckily, nobody was up there signaling him to move down, I was able to drive right by.
June 26th, 52 super sportsmen are at Silver Spring. It's hot. Chris Reed, 14, gives up the lead to Donnie Beaver in the white number 10. The limits on the sportsmen allow sustained side-by-side racing, not just slide jobs. On a lap 9 caution, leader Beaver pitted with an oil leak. Reed now has his hands full holding off the 16 of Paul Troutman and the 23 of John Stamen. Troutman owns the lead on the 14th lap. John Stamen in the Traco Excavating 23 pushes Troutman to the limit on a slick surface. It's Big John's 2nd Silver Spring win of the season. Troutman held on to 2nd, with Russ Mitten moving up for 3rd. Over the hill and through the humidity to Lincoln we go, where 31 sprinters open Speed Week. Time trial started Fred Rymer in 3rd, but he did have to pass both Lance DeWeese and Greg Hardnett. Lap 26, the Hamilton car breaks a coilover.
The race still for 2nd, and problems for Rymer. He's off the racetrack. So Hardnett and DeWeese will race for the lead.
The non-stop 30-lapper continues as suddenly we have a race for the lead between Hardnett, 12, and Lance DeWeese, 88.
Hardnett, your new leader. DeWeese 2nd. Schaeffer 3rd. For the lead between Hardnett and DeWeese. 3 to go. Lance DeWeese, Hardnett, side by side. Hardnett reclaims the spot.
Hodnett's last lap problems dropped him to 12th. Lance, who didn't even know Rymer had dropped out, was a surprised winner over Jeff Shepard and Steve Siegel.
If you're going to lead a lap, that's a good one to lead.
I tell you what, Fred was going to win this race hands down. He was operating really good, and we really weren't no good from the get-go, and I got racing Greg here pretty hard, and I guess something happened to him too, but hey, you have to finish them to win them. We weren't the fastest car, but we made her to the end, so we'll take this one.
June 28th, Speed Week continues at fast, exciting Grandview. Lance DeWeese leads from the pole.
It's Lance DeWeese quickly out of the hole, grabbing the number 1 straight away. A lot of elbow space between the top 5 campaigners.
Lance slips a little on the 7th lap and finds himself third behind Greg Hodnett, 12, and Fred Rymer. During 21 laps of non-stop action, Lance's right rear Goodyear heats up, and the 33-year-old looks to make a comeback.
On the outside, here's DeWeese back down to the inside on Rymer. Second place,
with less than 10 to go in the 35-lapper, DeWeese has the Haas 88 back in second. With lap traffic all around the tight high bank third mile, Lance reels back in the Apple Chevrolet number 12 of leader Hodnett.
Meanwhile, here comes DeWeese now closing in on race leader Greg Hodnett. 3 wide, Judy Bates in trouble. She takes that car down behind pit wall. You can see a blazing brake rotor on the left rear of race leader Greg Hodnett's car. Hodnett's in trouble. Here comes DeWeese. DeWeese on the outside.
Lance's team collects $10,000. Hodnett second with Rymer third.
Hodnett's car, and it is now costing the lead on the speedway.
We need you now, guys.
Roger Grube will take a wild ride during the car's invitational feature tonight at Grandview. Mark Richard leads, as well he should, having started on the pole. Long-haired Brian Eichelberger, number 55, follows. Tim Hershey hits the wall after getting rooted from behind. Dan Shadle stars in a late hit, but everyone is okay. The Richard benefit ends with a broken oil pump. Mike Lehman and Dale Hammaker followed Eichelberger, who pledged he'd get a haircut to celebrate the feature win.
Oh, definitely, most definitely. I thought I might have to wait till next year to get a cut, but things worked out just fine.
Well, again, congratulations. You're awful happy, and I know that there's some people down here that just can't wait to get the scissors at. Ladies and gentlemen, your feature winner, Brian Eichelberger.
June 29th, Big Diamond. Track announcer Bobby Stahl. One of the highlights of the entire circuit is always a visit to the Diamond Diner. Mark agrees. The pit count is at 23 tonight as the 410 sprinters make their second ever appearance here during night 3 of Speed Week. James Chesson, 22, grabs the lead. The only flip of the night is Josh Wells, and it's a mild one. Enjoying points handicapped racing so often, we've come to look at any time trial race as a second-class show. But you'd never know it so far during Speed Week. On the lap 13 restart, 30-year-old Tennessean Greg Hodnett in the Bob Stewart number 12 is quick on the throttle and the new leader. Lap 27, Jeff Shepard in the Zemco 1, who started 11th, will take the lead, but only briefly, as the fans are on their feet again. The win nets Greg $4,000. James Chesson hung on to third.
Yeah, I really didn't know he was there until about 2 or 3 laps to go. He got up on the outside, and he's one of the best on the outside, so I knew I had to get through 3 and 4 and take his lane away down the front straightaway. And I kind of maybe chopped him off a little bit, but you know, he was pushing me down the back straightaway, let me know he didn't appreciate it. But you know, we really needed to win, and I think we had the car fast enough to win. I just got a little too conservative again in traffic and almost bit me twice in a row.
June 30th. The cushion is wet and stacked as Speed Week continues at Silver Spring with 27 sprinters. Speed Week unpredictability continues. Jeff Shepard on the pole will not be in contention. Fred Rymer would come from 17th to lead and still not win.
Here at Silver Spring Speedway, the green flag is out.
Dave Healy, 77, leads. Greg Hodnett into second. Near disaster for Greg. That's Glendon Forsyth in the wall. Poison Ivy Cam shows Chris Ace also ending his night early.
Trouble on the front stretch.
Dave Healy was still leading when he jumped the cushion and stopped on lap 17. Fred Rymer, 77. Again, he started 17th. Takes advantage of a restart to pass ex-outlaw Hodnett, and that's no small feat.
Fred Rymer takes the lead. Hodnett tries the outside.
3 long minutes later, the last lap. Fast Freddy has some egg on his face. Lance DeWeese finishes third.
My hat's off to Fred Rymer. He came from 18th, and man, I about pissed in my pants when he went by, I'll be honest with you. But you know, I pulled the wing back for the restart, and I just got really tight, and I couldn't turn it, and I just kept winging her in harder and harder to get it to turn. And he was running the bottom really well. We just got enough momentum coming off the 2 there just to squeak by into turn 3.
July 1st, Speed Week event number 5 is at Susquehanna. Veteran Randy Wolf and limited graduate Billy Johns will both take tough rides on turn 4.
Here he comes out of the corner. Oh, we got one in the wall. Red.
Randy is okay after appearing to lose his steering. Billy looks like he just plain steps on his Johnson.
For the number 3 spot. Whoa, we got a red here in the front straightaway once again. Car upside down. Oh, watch them now. Here they come. Green. And there they go.
Chris Ace, number 17, leads off the pole.
Out of the corner down the back straightaway. Chris S. grabbing the early lead. Out of
Jeff Shepard was running second. Racing would be closer to normal for the time trial format late in the series as Chris Ace collects $4,000 after leading every lap. Fred Rymer second, PJ Chesson third.
Well, I don't know about you fans out there, but I'm tired of hearing the Jet and Fast Freddy up here all the time. We're putting a little pressure on him.
Here we go.
July 2nd's 30-lap Mitch Smith Memorial will pay $10,000 to win at Williams Grove. We'll pick up on that coverage as soon as we finish looking over some Susquehanna scenery. 37 sprinters took time with Chris Ace, 17, once again starting on the front row. But 41-year-old Fred Rymer starred in the feature's only pass for the lead on the 17th lap. Chris Ace finished second with Lance DeWeese third. The track surface was great tonight.
How'd you like the heavyweight track tonight?
I'll tell you what, how'd they like to see a TV show on the World Outlaw deal on one like this where you can actually race?
Saturday night, Port Royal hosted a unique 30-lapper, even for time trial lineups. 30 sprinters pit side. On the start, the front rows sorted out with Lance DeWeese leading over Jeff Shepard, Greg Hodnett, and Fred Rymer. And that's exactly the way all 4 stayed the whole race. The Port's largest crowd of the year viewed the parade.
Jeff Shepard giving chase. Greg Hodnett in the 3rd spot. Fred Rymer 4th. Kicks up the speedway.
Winning owner Joe Hars stirs them up.
You know, you read in the paper every week about the, you know, Shepard and Rymer and Hodnett and all that. I believe they were behind the yellow 88 tonight.
To say when you come up here, no matter how the night goes. And
Enchanting smiles from Ms. Motorsports and Miss Port Royal. Sunday night, July 4th, and the Speed Week finale at Selins Grove starts Fred Rymer on the pole. Another giant crowd on hand, 27 sprints. We hope for something interesting, but apparently we used up our luck early in the week. Greg Hodnett and Jeff Shepard followed Freddie. Despite a tire problem, Lance DeWeese finished 6th and was Speed Week champ, which is worth $2,500. During the course of Speed Week, several other events took place. July 2nd, we visited Path Valley Speedway near Spring Run, just 2 exits west of Carlisle on the turnpike. The micro sprints are part of the Friday night card here. 52 of the little buzz bombs packed the pits tonight. Kevin Nouse and Keith Woodside were racing for first before tangling wheels on a restart, with Nouse flipping. Jim Lender of Osceola Mills, driving the number 11, takes advantage of the situation for his first win of the season. Miss Path Valley races Victory Lane. The Super Sportsmen put on several shows at the Valley this year. Hey, Charlie Sorakash, they went that way. Bob Fantasy almost turns it over. The 25-lap feature gets greened in front of a good crowd. Chris Reed in the yellow 14 holds a small lead over Dave Newman, 21. Hey, Frankie Herr, they went that way. Newman works first from Reed, and here comes the green racer of Ken Carberry. But a sideways Sorakash contacts Reed as Carberry spins. Reed was eliminated and Carberry sent to the rear. Bob Gutschall, 65, is second until he too slams a spinning lap car in turn 4. Howie Locke also involved. Before the race could restart, leader Newman stops with problems. Does anyone want to win? Tom Haxall from Camp Hill, driving the West Shore Diner 55, inherits the lead and is holding off the 28 of Keith Prutzman. Rich Eichelberger puts number 8 in second late in the event, but a last lap challenge comes up short. Prutzman held on to third. It's Haxall's second win of the season in sportsman competition at Path Valley.
The Super Sportsman feature, wow, Tom, what a wild one tonight.
Yeah, that was something else there. I didn't think we had much, but I guess I didn't need all that much. Just stay out of trouble.
Yeah, you know, I was mentioning to the audience and the crowd, of course, at Path Valley Raceway, when you race here, the faster you go in the front, the quicker you catch the back, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I love the lap traffic. I wish we could have played a little more in there.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot of work getting through the lap traffic here, especially with that crew that you run with. They're all fine drivers.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is a tough division, and it's like I say, it helps to start toward the front.
Staying right here at the Valley, the next afternoon, July 3rd, is the hottest race we've ever attended. The National Open attracts 60 micro sprints. Don Colahucci runs into a sliding Andrew Dehoff. Later, Dehoff takes his yeehaw on the backstretch. Third-generation racer Ronnie Tobias Jr. earns his biggest payday at $1,000, slipping past leader Butch Harrington on a lap 18 restart. Ronnie, driving the familiar Tobias Blue number 17, lost his father to a heart attack just last year, and it's a very popular win. The 17-year-old just wants some water. Dave Sox finished second with Scott Tritle third. July 4th. What's a modified doing towing through the heart of sprint car country? We're on our way to Susquehanna Speedway, the home of the RSCA. Susky switched from Saturday nights to Sundays in an effort to beef up support. Admittedly struggling, nobody ever complains about the racing the modifieds do here on the high-banked half-mile. Jeff Strunk, number 9, leads Mimi DeSantis, 88, and Craig Von Doren, 114, in the 4,000 to win 50-lapper.
Redinger battling, here they come. Mimi trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Strunk. To the inside. Out of the corner, Von Doren now on the inside of DeSantis. Down the back, here he comes. Von Doren now.
Coming around for the 2-to-go sign, Von Doren slips past Mimi into second, but we're about to have some fireworks modified style.
Von Doren catch Strunk. 2 to go. Into the turn. Von Doren now in second. Going after Strunk. Oh!
Mimi finishes second. Von Doren dropped back for fifth, with Dwayne Howard third. The oppressive heat combined with a loss of power steering left Strunk in need of medical attention before being able to stand in victory lane.
Not only are you hot, I'm sure your arms are probably ready to fall off. These guys did not cut you any slack tonight. Obviously, they didn't know what you were going through in that cockpit, but one heck of a race tonight by all of you, and you came out on top.
I'll tell you, I ain't never felt like this in my life. Thank God Mimi was second, that's all I can say. You know, we've had some great races this year, and thank God he was second. Because he was there the whole race. I saw him so many times, I couldn't even count how many.
Jeff, a couple of caution periods there gave you a time to relax, but any thoughts at any time of pulling in, even though you were out in front?
No, I'd never pull in leading. I would have hit the wall first.
Also on July 4th, 43 super sportsmen joined 35 358 sprints in a Lincoln doubleheader. The sportsmen have their problems in turn one. Pat Cannon gets the ball rolling. It's not a wall of voodoo, it's made of cement. Frankie Herr loses the front end. The start of the feature leaves Joe Reniker upside down. Steve Wilbur, 59, started 6th and made his moves early before holding off Mark Smith, who started 16th. Russ Mitten, 3rd.
These turns here at Lincoln got to seem like they're about 2 miles wide.
Yeah, they do, but I love this place. I wish we'd run here every week. See what you can do.
Well, I talked to some guy, some Allen, somebody or other. We'll take care of that. We'll discuss it with him. Great division. You know, it's like the 358 sprints. Very tight specs on race cars. Lots of guys can win. Tough to qualify. Once you get in the show, you got to deal with everybody with the handicapping system. It is just a tough division.
Yeah, it is. When, like, it's the springs, you know, we get 50 to 60 cars each Saturday night. If you just qualify, you had a good night. You know, it's unbelievable. I can't imagine another division in the country being like this. But I really got to thank my crew. I got a heck of a crew. We've been struggling all year. Ben Woodring built us a fantastic car. My mom and dad bought it. Land O'Lakes has come on board. They've been super. So I can't ask for any more.
But there is more for the fans, as the Limiteds also find the first turn wall attractive. Rich Eichelberger. And now there goes Mark Richard. Todd Reed stays off the wall, but still gets tipped by Lyndon Mathias. Number 11, TJ Stutz, leads, looking for his first sprint car win, but spins a donut in lap traffic on lap 13. As TJ holds off the 71 of Joe Whitcomb, Gary Gullub, 51, slips into the lead on the inside. But just moments later, Gary dropped from the competition, handing the lead back to Stutz. TJ led until less than 2 laps to go, when Darren Ace, subbing for Chris in the number 30, makes it 2 Lincoln wins for the weekend and 3 for 3 career as driver of the Leach Racer.
2 in a row, man, 2 nights in a row. I mean, you can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Same as last night, the crew, the owners, just everything. You can see when something gels how it goes, you know. Them guys, I tell you, that 4 car was driving for everything he had. And, you know, the guys up ahead, I've been in this game since 1983, you know, so I got a little bit more time behind the wheel than a lot of guys. I mean, I ain't been at it continuous, but, man, that was a hell of a race there, I tell you.
July 7th, the micros cut loose at the fairgrounds at Kutztown. They're really packing the power in these little cars. Matt Hatfield cuts through the infield during his heat race. Matt made history during the C-Main when he became the first driver ever to clear the wall in the 3-year history of the quarter mile here. He had some help. A first lap feature pileup forces Ron DeSimone and Dave Dravecki upside down. Keith Wetzel, number 1W, gives up the lead to point leader and Micro's superstar Terry Schaeffer, number 2. Or does he? A couple minutes later, Wetzel still leads as we have bumper tag on the final lap. Keith is from Minersville, and it's his first win here at the fairgrounds. July 9th, Keith Kaufman, 7, leads Todd Schaeffer, 88, through lap traffic at Williams Grove. 23 sprints in the mid-season pits.
Schaeffer in the middle, slices down to the bottom. Heavy lap traffic in front of the leaders. At the halfway point, Keith Kaufman sets the pace. Schaeffer second.
Johnny Bridges gets lost in the dust of Todd's slide job.
Johnny Bridges.
Lap 17, Todd makes his move. Mr. Excitement gave it his all. Mifflintown native Kaufman holds off Greg Hodnett, 12, with Fred Rymer, 3rd.
42 within one of your buddy Paxton. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. He's been around a long time. I guess that's why they make records. You know, I've done a lot of records too, but it's nice to have them for a while. And it's nice to see somebody break them.
Well, you're within one. Maybe this year. Maybe next week.
Yeah, we've been struggling, but you know, all these guys, Rat and Paul, and you know, just everybody, Mike and my brother-in-law Bob. Boy, they've been working their heads off, you know, on this car, and finally paid off.
37 super sportsmen joined the sprinters tonight. John Stamen sat out several weeks with rib injuries after this heat race spill. Carlisle's Frankie Herr, number 3, takes the feature lead on the outside of Craig Morrow. Frankie started 11th.
We've got a new leader. It's Frankie Herr.
The finish was Herr over Morrow with Jim Shuttlesworth 4th. Frankie speaks for many racer types in victory lane.
More than any, I really want to thank my wife a lot. She puts up with a hell of a guy. I mean, I don't give her nothing, and she sticks behind me week after week, and she says, "Am I ever going to see you?"
Lincoln, July 10th. Mike Cragen is another new one to us, driving the purple number 17 in 358 sprint car competition. Mike barely made it one lap before getting deposited on his side after tangling with Jimmy Layton. The veterans have their problems too. Dan Dietrich gets over Eric Pattison. Daring Dan is okay. And now here comes Danny Warwick, right for our chicken cameraman. A tangle on the start of the feature sends Greg Labby for his wildest ride of the season. Chris Ace, 30, started 11th and took the lead from Tracy Templin, number 15, on just the 5th lap. Gary Gullub wound up 2nd with Terry Leininger 3rd. The 410s would also have familiar results tonight. Brian Monteith, number 12, led for 22 laps, but Fred Rymer, number 77, once again completes his frequent winning charge through the field here for his 9th Lincoln win of the season. Greg Hodnett also slipped past Monteith for 2nd. July 16th at Williams Grove. On a mid-race restart, Todd Schaeffer, 88, takes first from Sean Keane. But Lance DeWeese in the yellow 88 is up to his old tricks.
Schaeffer's got the lead. Keane tries the inside. Lance around the top. Lance DeWeese into 2nd. Keane falls to 3rd. Rymer takes 3rd from him. Lance DeWeese drives by Todd Schaeffer now.
Fred and Shepard and all them talking about the wind column. Well, I tell you what, we haven't rolled over and played dead yet.
At the same time, over the Blue Mountain at Path Valley, the Super Sportsmen have a full field on the wide quarter mile. Bill Schofstall will enjoy a pair of wins here at the Valley this season, but definitely not tonight.
Yeah, he's all right.
Dolphins' George Ryden in the orange 32 leads the feature, but here comes the number 3 of Frankie Herr. Frankie's lead is threatened as he has a run-in with some lap traffic. The number 3 recovers. Rich Eichelberger, number 8, moves into second. With Frankie glued to the inside groove, there's just too much lap traffic down there. Big Rich is graceful on the outside for the thrilling win.
Well, congratulations once again. I guess that's your first one of the season here.
That's correct. That's our first one all year. We've been running in the top 5 pretty consecutive, and it's just nice to get in that winner's circle. Last time we were here, we were second by just a little bit, and especially coming from the back, you know, so many of the winners come from the first 2 rows, and we started 10th tonight, so that makes us feel good.
And over 50 Super Sportsmen always makes us feel good, like there is every week here at Silver Spring. Dave Ort, 41, is a rookie with some past micro experience. Dave leads the feature over fellow pole sitter Rodney Adams. Here comes veterans Frankie Herr and Carmen Perigo, number 2. The Highlands number 3 of Herr leads after backstretch contact. Late in the event, it's Carmen Perigo leading. Frankie comes back. But Carmen will talk to Steve in victory lane.
Talk about swapping for the lead there, Carmen. What was going through your mind?
It was going pretty good there. I was pretty happy with it, and I was thinking they were coming for the checkered, if I should stay on the outside or if I should cross over. And I like to stay on the outside. It worked.
We have a new Miss Silver Spring tonight. Not quite as tall, but a little pointier. Over at Lincoln, Al DeAngelis and especially Josh Wells will have a night they would like to forget.
Green is out, we're underway. Weaver and Wells.
Josh on the first lap of his heat race.
Hits the wall and flips on to his top wing, so the red flag is out for Danny Jones running second. Rymer up to third.
Al on the second lap of his.
He's going to roll it over on the backstretch. So the red flag will come out for Al DeAngelis.
And now Josh again on the first lap of the Consi.
And again, the 6W of Wells flips over.
A feature restart. Bill Bryan, 16, leads, but not for long. Danny Jones in the Creasy Signs number 8 slips by first and brings the 77 of Fred Rymer along. Most of the large crowd expected one more pass here, but it never happened, and Danny has his first sprint car win of the year.
Danny Jones will be your leader. Rymer second, Bryan third. Jones and Rymer 1 and 2. Rymer to the inside. Jones hangs on.
Danny, heck of a run.
Yeah, hell, that's twice tonight he got beat.
We kind of had a feeling you drove away from them in the heat, and we knew you were fast.
Well, we tried a new deal last night at the Grove, and it seemed real good, and I told Kirk, let's just start with it here. It's about a slick track deal, and I tell you what, it worked perfect.
What was it? Are you at liberty to say?
Well, a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Oh, well, thank you for going into detail on that.
Right.
It's a big win for you for a couple of reasons. Number one, you've been extremely fast. Just having some bad luck here. Got out a little late this year, but boy, is this race car fast.
Yeah, it's real good. Jeff Creasy puts a hell of a car behind Kirk and I. We have the best stuff to work with. We ain't got quite as much as we need as far as multiple things, but hey, you only need one of everything to win.
Well, your timing is amazing. First and foremost, you went on a night when the micro sprints are here. I know you like to show off for them.
Well, I don't know about showing off, but they put on a good show, and it's a very good learning, division, and I'm just glad I cut my teeth in that type of racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's more and more guys from the micro sprints learning to drive these open wheel cars, and there are some good ones in the sprint division from the micros.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good micro drivers. There's a lot of good race car drivers, period. Just getting into the right situation with the right team, and that enables us to beat Fred Rymer.
Up on turn 3. And speaking of the micros here, the small cars come to the full-size Lincoln about 3 times a year. Here's a salute to just that, called from the last 3 years of little cars with big problems.
Stretch, your early leader, the 71 of Brian Leppo, and problems on the front stretch at the start. The red... 4th and moving up to 3rd on the front stretch. So McClelland all alone out front, and problems in 1 and 2. And a double flip up on the 2nd turn. Trout, Leppo, McClelland 1, 2, and 3, and we've got problems up on turn 2. A couple of cars turning it over.
Hello, welcome to Grandview Speedway. Tonight's our Thunder on the Hill show. I'm Jennifer Olson, Miss Motorsports 1999. On our agenda tonight, we have 4 25-lap features, the ARDC Midgets, 410 Sprints, Cars Wingless Sprints, and the Modifieds. Enjoy.
All 4 feature lineups were invitational. The Midgets go first. Kevin Bastian, number 8, leads, but the number 1 of Ray Bull is about to take over.
Brian Kovalars gets up high in turn 3. Kovalars with a handful of race car, the 49, and he may be having some...
Walt Steerley also passed Bastian.
As he begins to slow and drop back.
The boilerplate shows no mercy to Lou Blair. There was only one small hole in the entire track surface, and Fred Schell finds it. Ray Bull leads until the white flag, and undisclosed mechanical problems hand the lead over to Trap PA's Walt Steerley, who steered the 42 into victory lane over Tim Dietz and Bastian.
Lead over to Walt Steerley.
Walt, well, congratulations on a fine win. I guess you didn't expect that one, did you?
Well, I didn't expect it till I came by here and saw the white flag and the number 1 pulling in. But I've been racing something since I was 11 years old. I lost a couple that way, so I guess I can win one that way.
It was a little scary to see the Cars Sprints take the green in their only wingless appearance of the year with little practice and no qualifying events. The 3rd smack is the charm for Rusty Presley. Rusty walks away from the first lap spill. Another try to start the feature produced bumping near the front. Ryan Eichelberger will get back into the race after retightening his tail tank. Kevin Drury in the blue 31, who has 2 wins during Cars Western PA competition this year, leads Bob Beitelman 81 and Mark Richard 50 in the 3-way tussle for first as we get a little closer to what wingless racing is all about. Richard has it together best, going from 3rd to 1st here in this sequence. Dale Hammaker came all the way from the rear after a first lap spin to finish second, with Beitelman hanging on to third.
Side by side on a turn number 4. They'll Frank race up down the home straightaway. Richards out of turn number 2, just a wee bit quicker, and Richards grabs the number 1 position.
This year, to be honest with you, it's kind of a disappointment. Doggone it, we should have had 3 in a row down here, and we blew up the last time, but we can't help that. And it feels good. This is the first feature I've ever run with a wingless car, and I always said I wanted to do that before I retired.
28-year-old Glenn Strunk in the number 9 takes the stock car feature lead from the 33 of Ray Swinehart. Both Glenn and Ray are from right here in Bechtelsville. The modifieds put on 3 and 4 wide racing, as only can be presented by the regulars of the weekly Saturday night wars here at Grandview. Tom Mayberry finished second with Swinehart third. The Thunder on the Hill regulars certainly looked fast tonight. Bill Bryan tangles with George McGuff. Greg Hodnett, number 12, will run down Brian Paulus on the 16th lap among lap traffic for the $4,000 win. Shepard will come on for second with Chris Aish third.
Here comes Chris Aish down the back straightaway. Aish will take a look down to the inside this time. Here's Hodnett back down to the inside of Paulus, and Hodnett grabs the number 1 spot. Greg Hodnett, now your new race leader.
It's Greg's first win here at Grandview, and we've heard nothing but raves about the format. Williams Grove, July 23rd. The first limited heat will be a disaster for the Siler number 54. Don Wolf was driving, trying to help set the car up. Despite the appearance of his feet through the floorboard, Don is A-OK. Fireman George helps pick up the pieces. Gary Gullub waves hello to Judge Shepard. Another hard one. This time it's Nate Snyder. Nate is also all right, but definitely out for the night. Billy Johns, number 2, leads the feature for 5 laps until Kevin McNew, number 8, makes his move.
Challenging for the lead-off turn number 4. McNew on the outside takes the lead. McNew, your new leader.
4 laps later, Mr. Second Place, Terry Leininger, number 88, is the new leader. We'll tell you Rich Eichelberger finishes third, and now let Bruce call the last lap as Chris Aish has moved into second.
Leininger hits the cushion but maintains his lead. Last corner coming up. Aish to the low side, to the lead, to the checkered flag. Chris Aish will win it. Leininger second.
It's kind of a shame, you know. He runs so hard, and you know, he's finished second to us a lot this year, and he's one hell of a racer. You know, he gives you lots of room, and just a fun guy to race with.
24 410s, lap 8. Danny Jones in the lead past the 3 of Bob Bennett with a lap car in between.
We've got a new leader in the 8J, Danny Jones.
Gary Brazier in the rail.
Schaeffer falls and through.
In the second last lap feature pass of the night, Todd Schaeffer is Mr. Excitement. Rymer third.
Into turn number 3, they go Schaeffer makes a bid, drives up in front of Danny Jones. Jones tries to come back on him, but Todd Schaeffer will win it.
Tonight, I think it was a car just about as good as me, but I had a little incentive. Last week, a guy gave me a little bit of static and told me I was slow as could be, and it all shaped up tonight because that's who I had to chase down at the end. He raced me clean there at the end, so I guess he realized that's how we race here, so I hope that's over with.
It's hard to improve on the racing at Silver Spring. There is one way. It happened this year, July 24th. Time trials were once again in effect for a non-point show, but 30 super sportsmen fully liberated will certainly suffice. Carmen Perigo, number 2, did lead the whole way, and this year, the real race car feature does not go non-stop. Third place, Ken Carberry spins. Howie Locke apparently overlooks the sleek stalled racer. Last year's winner, Leroy Martin, 66, and consistent non-wing contender Donnie Beaver in the high groove keep Carmen company. In the end, it was just Leroy on the deuces bumper, with Beaver finishing just back a little in third.
This thing looked like it was riding on rails tonight. Awfully smooth out there for you.
Yeah, that's the only way I was going to win, was just be smooth and keep it on the bottom and protect it. I saw him try the top once or twice, and then whenever he tried the top, I didn't see him for a couple laps, so I just assumed that he lost ground up there.
Fourth win of the season. Things are going pretty good for this team.
Yeah, I wish this was a point show, though.
Maybe next year, Carmen. As we do regularly now, we wind up our racing weekend at Selins Grove, along with 25 full-blown unmuffled sprinters. Sean Keane is off to a bad start. James Chesson is all eyeballs and teeth, as his rear tire relocation nearly throws him into Troy Camp. Lost somewhere in this second turn dust storm is Mike Erdley.
End over end in turn 2. Red is out.
The seventh lap. Ron Kramer, 33, leads Joey Borich, 88, and Jeff Shepard, 1, into lap traffic. Shepard, who started 10th, passes both in one sweep to end Fred Raymer's 3-race win streak here. Raymer would make it to second, with Todd Hester third. July 27th, the Don Martin Memorial is Outlaw sanctioned. The Lernerville Clay is back in great shape tonight. The Silver Cup 8 will pay over $32,000 to win. Greg Hudden at 12 gives us hope, starting on the pole before leading for 13 laps. Actually, Greg is beginning to experience an oil fitting problem, which will soon drop him from the race. Both Donnie Schatz, 15, and Mark Kinzer say move over to Greg, with Mark making it 4 Cup wins in a row here. Schatz also parked with problems. Stevie Smith wound up second, with Danny Lozowski third.
Do you like Lernerville Speedway?
I love Lernerville Speedway. It was always fun coming here. Back when I couldn't make no money, Don always make sure he'd slip me $50 or $100 or get me a room or something just so I could get home. So it's been nice to come here even when I couldn't win.
July 29th, Williams Grove. The Outlaws pare down the 39-car field to a 2-car race with 22 jam cars. Stevie Smith, 19, leads on the start over fellow front row starter Mark Kinzer. Jack Howdenshield slaps a spinning Jeff Swindell. We've got to do something about these front row problems. 1996 champ Mark Kinzer in the Mopar 5 upsets the lineup by passing Stevie on the 8th lap for his 15th career win at the Grove. On Friday night, things went smoother, with point leader and obvious favorite Mark starting on the pole and leading every lap. But Lance DeWeese had us worried midway through the 10,000 to win 30-lapper.
Lance working the bottom, and 3 and 4 gets side by side with the leader.
Mark from Ulitic, Indiana, scores a complete sweep of all 3 PA Outlaw features.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Olson, Miss Motorsports 1999. Welcome to Hagerstown Speedway, where tonight our feature event, the World of Outlaws.
Mark's streak comes to an end in Maryland at Hagerstown, as it's Stevie Smith starting on the front row and leading every lap. It's only Stevie's second Outlaw win of the season, but the 49th of his career. Mark Kinzer came on from the second row to finish second, with Sammy Swindell third. 24 cars were on hand to compete on the unusually fast for a Woo Show surface.
But it almost looked like deja vu there the last couple of laps. The 5M was closing really quickly.
Well, I kind of figured that. He's been going good. He's done it to us every race here in Pennsylvania that we've been leading. But we were a little better in the beginning. He was a little bit better in the end. But I guess we were better for more laps, or we started in front of him. So.
Also on July 31st, the locals are mixing it up at Lincoln. Rookie Dan Long is still passing through that learning stage. There's 27 410 Supers in the pits for the Gone Memorial. Bill Bryan Jr. in the white 16 leads off the front for 2 laps until Jesse Wentz in the red Deuce, who started 4th, assumes control.
Jesse Wentz into the lead. Billy Bryan second. Chris Hayes closing.
Chris Hayes, 17, started 10th and is now working first from Wentz on the 10th lap. It'll be Chris's 5th big block win overall, his 4th at Lincoln, and 26th career at Lincoln. Fred Raymer would wind up second with Donnie Kreitz third. Joe Whitcomb finishes up work on his attractively painted blue and yellow number 71 just prior to action, as 30 358 sprinters will also do battle tonight at Lincoln. You can go back to work now, Joe. Greg Libby, 77, will hold on to second tonight in the H Benefit 358s. The Leach number 30 has won 7 out of 9 features run here this season, with Chris's brother Darren at the wheel on 2 occasions. Chris took the lead from Libby on lap 8 this time. Gary Gullub finished third. Meanwhile, over at Silver Spring, Donnie Beaver, number 10, slips past Carmen Perigo, number 2, to take the lead en route to ending a 2-year winless drought here. It's the Beavers' 13th Silver Spring career win. Donnie had to prevail over a field of 53 of the carbureted self-starting sprinters. Bob Fantasy moved up to second, with Perigo slipping to third. August 1st, 15 limited sprints visit Selins Grove. Terry Leininger in the Potent Leach number 30 tonight leads over fellow front row starter Doug Esch, number 6. TJ Stutz spins, and Dale Hamaker and Greg Libby are out for the night. After several second-place finishes, Terry finally surpasses the bridesmaids' roll. Todd Reed finished third.
How concerned were you about Doug Esch there? He was coming on strong.
Well, I was pretty concerned about him because he's awful fast. He smoked everyone in a heat race. He drew a number 2, and I thought, you lucky son of a... So I drew number 1, and all he had to say was me is, you better gas her.
Hey, your crew members over here at the checker flag. It was by a straightaway. You were able to pull ahead there.
Well, I'll tell you, I really had no idea the lead I had. After restart, the first couple laps, I'd run as hard as I could, then I'd look backwards. And I didn't see anyone really toward the end of the race. I thought, well, he's either glued to my bumper or I'm just smoking this place.
This is better than sex. This is better than your wildest sex.
The 410s were also a little short tonight with 19. The story is Bob Bennett in the Mickle number 3, appearing headed for the low-budget operations' first win of the season. Here, the Red Racer holds off both Todd Hester, number 7, and Lance DeWeese, 88, late in the event. The turning point of the race was a lap 20 fuel stop. Fred Rymer, 77, who had to restart on the tail after a second lap flat tire, uses some superior horsepower to complete his winning charge. Hester suffered a late race flat tire. Lance DeWeese wound up second, with Bennett third. August 6, Williams Grove, soft-spoken giant and micro-graduate Joe Ilg, number 22, hasn't dumped it in a couple of years, so we mug him for leading tonight's limited feature. That's another comer, TJ Stutz, giving up the lead on the 5th lap, as feature event drama is highly concentrated into just a couple of moments. Here comes Mike Lehman, number 59, and also, of course, Chris Aish in the Dick Leach-owned number 30.
But here comes Chris Aish. Chris Aish up the 3rd. Mike Lehman blows by Joe Hill. Aish tries to follow him through, and he does. Lehman's got the lead. Chris Aish right behind him now. Behind Mike Lehman as they head into turn number 3. He ducks to the inside.
In the end, it was Aish over Doug Esch and Rich Eichelberger, with Lehman 4th and Ilg 5th.
Chris Aish will lead lap 7.
The vintage racers joined the 35 358s and the 29 410 regulars. Sean Keane leads the big block feature. Fred Raymer's biggest stumbling block in his winning charge from 10th starting spot was Len Thompson, number 10. Fast Freddy takes complete command on the 18th lap. Donnie Kreitz would finish second, with Keane hanging around for third.
Yeah, I heard Tommy Hendershot's passed away this week, and that's a shame because he was one heck of a good racer, and never heard nobody say nothing but good things about him, and I'm just glad to be able to race where he did.
August 7th, the limited wars continue at Lincoln. 31 358s are in the pits.
Collect a couple of cars and that's Mark Yinger out over the backstretch guardrail.
Mark Yinger is in the Thunder car pits. Feature time. Elmer Stoltzfus gives up the lead to the 22 of Joe Ilg. Doug Esch passed Ilg on the 15th lap. Doug knows his mission is to hold off Chris Ace, who is charging from his normal 12th starting spot. Doug holds on until the pair flash under the white flag. It'll be Chris's 6th win in his 8 Lincoln appearances with the 358s. Eric Stamball finishes 3rd.
And takes the lead at 1 and 2. Doug Esch will try to get it back. Lap traffic in front of him. Checkered is down. Your winner is going to be the 30 of Chris.
Glendon Forsyth is among the 27 Lincoln regulars tonight. Glendon will fail to qualify, first getting into Bill Bryan on the first lap of the heat race before getting run over by Johnny Mackison. Later, Glendon's number 94 finds the way blocked during the concert. Brian Monteith, number 12, has grabbed the feature lead from fellow pole sitter Todd Gracie on the start. Both drivers looking for their first win of the season. Monteith will be credited with leading all 25 laps, but as we see here, he did not lead all the way.
Jesse Wentz running third. Dave Illy, Gracie to the inside. Monteith will drop low. Wheel to wheel down the backstretch.
In the end, it was Monteith home for his 2nd career Lincoln win, with Fred Rymer 2nd and Gracie winding up 3rd.
This field here at Lincoln is so tough. There's so many good cars. First row doesn't mean anything.
It's very tough here. Everybody here is fast.
Let's talk about all these guys back here. You got a happy crew and family and friends back here.
Yeah, without all of them, it definitely wouldn't be possible.
Well, we congratulate you on a big one here tonight.
Yep, thank you.
There's a reason they call it the Fairgrounds at Kutztown. It's August 11th. Mike Miller returned from a heat race flip a year ago to win the feature. This year, Mike's annual fair flyer occurred during the feature. 14-year-old rookie Josh Weller from Mertztown, driving the family number 63, takes his first career victory on Wednesday night fair week here at Kutztown. Nice going, Josh. Mike Eardley, number 117, has been close several times, and tonight on August 15th at Selins Grove, the street stock graduate holds off the torrid challenges of Todd Hester for his first career sprint car win.
You've waited a long time for this. Congratulations, Mike.
Well, I tell you what, this feels really good. You know, I'd lay awake at night wondering what this would be like, and it sure feels good.
3 career second-place finishes, 1 last year, 2 this year, and now a feature win. Is it going to take a while for it to sink in?
Well, it probably will. Last month was pretty bad on us, and I was just hoping we had to get something turned around and get going here because we were really struggling.
The Super Sportsmen make their annual midweek Port Royal appearance on Thursday night, August 19th. 31 of the highly competitive carbureted self-starting 1,900-pound minimum weight racers deal with port inertia. Mark Smith is too hot into turn 3, but it's Keith Pretzman paying the price with a last-place feature finish. Rich Eichelberger pays for his own mistake. On the second lap, Craig Morrow in the white number 6 has passed the number 2 of Matt Ondeck into the lead, and apparently on his way to his first career win.
Slight advantage to the 6th car in the turn 3.
14th place starter Mark Smith charges through the pack to make a final turn run at Craig, but broke a drive line off turn 4, dropping Mark to 3rd behind Morrow and Bob Fantasy. But now Morrow fails to make weight, and Fantasy, who went into the final turns a distant 3rd, was declared the surprise winner. The sprint car feature went to a very sick Fred Rymer in the Hamilton 77, who prevailed well enough to slip past Port Royal expert Lance DeWeese on the 8th lap. August 21st. Chris Knopp will get on his head 2 times tonight at Lincoln, where 30 410 sprinters are prepared. Here, Chris gets over the tire of Johnny Mackison on the first lap of his heat race. On the first lap of the feature, Glendon Forsyth takes a similar ride. The second start is better as Todd Gracie in the Cooper Motors 25 breaks away. The feature went non-stop until the 19th lap when Knopp tangles with Chris Ace on the front stretch. Chris flips 3 times and suffers a concussion from the crash, forcing him to sit out a couple of races. The restart is what second place Jeff Shepard in the Zemco number 1 needed as he takes the lead from Gracie. And now Gracie loses it. As the pack scatters, Bill Bryan and P.J. Chesson both do 1.5ers.
Billy Bryan and P.J. Chesson will roll over. Shepard and Rymer.
The Mouth from Maryland picks up his 3rd Lincoln win of the year over what's-his-name, with Jesse Wentz 3rd.
5 to go. Your winner here tonight, let's hear it for him, Jeff Shepard.
The midgets were extra racy tonight with 30 real race cars pit side. Dwayne Mosteller in the yellow car crisscrosses Donnie Trent in white to lead on the second lap. Jim Jackson spins as Brian Succi wants no part of the out-of-control racer. It's a 4-car battle up front as Doug Border moves to the point over Mosteller with 10th place starter Mark Freeland, number 4, up to 3rd.
Here comes Mark Freeland in the 4.
Ed Steinley in the high group. At the halfway point, Freeland from Ickersburg in the blue Exportees Turnbull Oil Special was on his way to his 4th career ARDC win. Ryan Kobolars would move into 2nd with Kevin Bastian 3rd.
We took a little driving lesson this week out west, so we learned how to keep the pedal down a little harder without the wing on, and got a nice track like Lincoln here. You couldn't ask for a better surface than this tonight, and this place is awesome. I mean, really nice, and I got to thank all my crew, and I want to get Roger up here. Thank him.
August 25th, the Grandview Thunder finale. An ill-feeling Chris Ace pops the plate. Later, Chris pops a topsy-turvy Judy Bates, who had clipped a tire marker. 33 sprinters entered the All-Star sanctioned event. Jeff Shepard starts on the pole. Jeff would later claim a wheel packed with mud slowed his pace, as Keith Kaufman takes first on lap 9. 6 laps later, Shepard is back in front. The last 2 laps find Shepard exchanging the lead with Lance DeWeese, 88, before Jeff collects $7,000 as winner of the Classic. Fred Rymer 3rd with DeWeese, the Thunder point champ for the 2nd year straight. With rain threatening, the feature is over before 9:30. Amazing what track managements can do when they really want to. Fresh off a car's win at Hidden Valley, Rick Horn, 01, makes it 2 in a row with this winning pass of Mark Yinger. Rick would be followed in the end by Bob Beitelman and Kevin Drury.
The car looked like it worked perfectly.
Yes, it worked real well. It's been working good all year. I'd like to thank Hums for sponsoring me this year. I'd like to thank all my crew. They do a great job. We only have 2 here tonight, but we have about 10 floaters, and my wife couldn't make it tonight. She's a big help. And we're just happy to be here again. I love it.
August 27th, the United Racing Club makes its first Big Diamond appearance since 1985. Shawn Michael, number 99, may be feeling full moon effects as he charges through the feature field. Tim Hogue is out for the night after a bump from Dan Massey. Greg Coverdale holds on. Mike Hagenbottom. Ouch, those bushes are prickly. Ian Borden got right back into the race. With Kurt Michael running 410s, Blandon's Jimmy Stitzel has been invited into the potent Bostic number 6. Here, the 24-year-old machinist works first position from veteran Billy Ellis 8 laps into the 1,500 to win 25-lapper for his first URC win. Ellis finished 2nd with Bill Bryan 3rd.
A couple of weeks ago, this ride was offered to you, and you kind of be goofy to turn it down, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's one of the top rides in URC, and it kind of shocked me that,
we only ran our own stuff, and someone with this good equipment will ask me to run for him. So that made me feel good, and I'm just glad to give him a victory so soon.
Sean M. was not the only one affected by the full harvest moon. Track management reworked the perfect track surface at midnight, and then there's the modifies. The race itself was great, and side by side, keying on the winning pass by 36-year-old Craig Von Dorn. That's Mike Bailey falling victim to Craig's charge, and we mean charge, as the Bartow resident started 15th. It's Craig's 42nd career win at the Diamond. Keith Hoffman and Craig Whitmoyer would wind up with respective show positions. 53 super sportsmen are at Silver Spring on August 28th, where every show is a priceless gem. Steve Cannon, 23, takes the feature lead on lap 2 from Craig Morrow, number 6. Driving a rebuilt car from last season, J.R. Fry, number 42, takes first position from Cannon on the 18th lap. It'll be J.R.'s 4th career win at the Spring. Carmen Perigo and Leroy Martin followed the W100 sponsored racer across the finish.
Well, I definitely got to dedicate this one to everybody on the crew because they worked their butts off all week to put the car back together. So this win was all theirs.
And now the car itself, is this an older car or is this a newer car?
This is the one I trashed last year at Susquehanna.
47 cars sprints added up to 100 open wheelers at the Spring tonight. Billy Johns in the deuce holds off Mark Richard for the feature lead. 100 sprinters and no flips, although Bob Camilli tried. Richard slips past Johns on his way to his 6th Cars win of the season in the Dietz Toyota number 50, despite bouncing off the wall at the checker. Gary Gullib moved up to 2nd at the finish, with Mike Lehman 3rd.
I thought you were going to go up there and grab the checkered flag out of his hand.
I tell you what, that's called a rookie mistake by a veteran. You know, you tell yourself, just be patient, take it easy. You know, you got this thing won. Don't screw up. You roll out of the throttle, where's the car go? Right to the wall. I know better, but I did it.
Around ski round top we go to Lincoln, where the All-Stars have completed their time trials, and it's time to go racing. Brian Ellenberger gets into turn 2 a little too hot. 48 sprinters and a full house. Rick Lafferty takes another hard spill. Fred Rymer, 77, slips under pole sitter Chris Ace, 17, on the 9th lap. That should be all here at Lincoln, but somebody forgot to tell Lance DeWeese. Here, his Haas 88 leaves Ace way behind. And now on to Fred Rymer in lap traffic on the 37th of 40 laps. Jeff Shepard, 3rd. August 28th, the All-Stars come to Selins Grove, and there's 37 top-notch racing machines in the pits. All-Star Joey Saldana, plus Selins Grove locals Alan Cole and Troy Weitzel will have more than the number 17 in common tonight. Joey suddenly spins, and Alan has nowhere to go. Troy tips after evasive contact. The racing for first was pretty much canceled when time trials put Fred Rymer on the pole. Kenny Jacobs 2nd, Greg Hudnett 3rd. September 3rd, Billy Wilburn is among 35 sprints as Williams Grove inaugurates a triple 20 format. 1 lap of the first feature was enough for Billy, who hangs it on the railing. Wagner would make it back for the second 2 features after also getting bounced around on the first lap crash. It looked like a long night in the making as Len Thompson brings out the red on the restart. Fortunately, things proceeded fairly smoothly from this point. In fact, all the racing was excellent. Jeff Shepard, number 1, won the first feature with this pass of Keith Kaufman in the Middlesworth car on the 13th lap. Now the second feature. Johnny Mackison, 65, wins out in a back-and-forth restart battle with Sean Keane, 53. Here comes Fred Rymer, 77, into second. A few laps later, Rymer outmaneuvers Mackison in lap traffic and becomes the new leader. Fast Freddy started 10th. Donnie Kreitz, 69, keeps the race going, moving into second and actually passing Rymer momentarily. But he'd have to settle for runner-up, as it's Fast Freddy's 37th career Grove win. P.J. Chesson is third. Management up the stakes for the third and final 20 with $5,000 on the line. They will get their money's worth. P.J. Chesson, 76, leads ahead of Keith Kaufman and Sean Keane after 3 abreast racing for the lead in turn 2. Dave Haight does a graceful pirouette. Fred Rymer, 77, sneaks around the lap car, and Chesson into the lead. Montilli bangs the second turn cushion. Rymer tries again a couple laps later, but this time PJ just plain gets off the turn faster. The third attempt by Fast Freddy again falls victim to the cush. Aren't cushions terrible, how they cause position changing? Where's the grader? And now look at this. Donnie Kreitz moves into second. Lap 17, it's Chesson's turn to miscalculate the berm, and brand new father Donnie Kreitz has his first win of the season. Rymer would slip back past PJ for second. The 358 sprints took part in a makeup feature on this beautiful evening. It's another barn burner. Doug Ash, number 6, started 11th. Doug moved to the front before engaging in first place position swapping with Mike Lehman, 59, for several laps. Here's a sample. Lancaster's S recorded his first Grove win of the season. In the end, Lehman actually faded to third behind Terry Leininger.
Mike and I, we love to race hard. I tell you what, we race really hard. And he likes to try and intimidate me, but you know, he just don't intimidate me no more.
September 4th, 57 super sportsmen are in the heart of it all at Silver Spring. 54-year-old veteran Bobby Weaver, driving the Gorell Radiator 71, which he built back in 1985, steers it to his 15th career Silver Spring win after taking first from Chris Reed.
You just told me you didn't have any brakes the second half of that race.
Yeah, at 15 laps, actually right before that yellow there, it started going on into the floor, and from the 15th lap to go, I had none. And it's just good I wasn't in traffic. If I'd have caught lap traffic, I'd have been in trouble.
September 5th, Sharon, Ohio. 17-year-old Casey Kane's first All-Star winner's check from Lernerville 2 nights ago is spent. Danny Wood nearly joined Casey in the parking lot. It's over $10,000 for Joey Saldana, winner of the Sharon Nationals, and beating the best of the PA posse in the process. As they say, sit down, shut up, and hang on as we go out of control across the fruited plain. We are forever in debt to fellow producers Brian Thompson and Candy Baker, who's a woman after our own heart, plus Brian's assistants, Scott the Roofer Beyer and Mark Goober Douglas. And now there's one more, as Mike Harker picked up a camera to score Freelance Independent Photographers of Speedway's Rookie of the Year award. Brian and Candy even prepare us blow-by-blow script, which is as to the point as their videography. As this segment rolls on, it'll offer proof that a simple handycam in the hands of the truly inspired can capture racing drama with a quality the big TV networks may never master. We begin at the 16th Street Speedway, Indianapolis. Barry Reed almost gets past a spinning Michael Lewis. Scooter Ellis hits the 4th turn wall during qualifying. Chris Critter Malone gets on his head after contact with Ray Bull. Tracy Hines spins and Robbie Flock takes to the skies down the front stretch. Michael Lewis wheelies and flips. Mike Roselli near home plate. Another Easterner in trouble is Mark Freeland during qualifying. Roger McCluskey Jr. Tim Menner does an easy roll after getting into the inside tires. Now Tim's in trouble again. Kerry Edwards has the throttle stick and tattoos the wall. Dean Franklin in turn 3. John Nervo has nowhere to go on the start of his heat race during USAC competition. Michael Bridges flips on the start of the semi after contact with John Sluss, who lost a wheel. Phil Chappelle flips during qualifying. Car and driver suffered no damage. Ron Smoker rides over the wheel of IRL founder Tony George. Chris Carey flips on the backstretch after contact during his heat race. Mike Fulper manages to lose his helmet during a slow roll. Andy Pierce flips past the checkered while battling for last position in his heat. Matt Westfall tries a balancing act in turn 3. A.J. Smith takes an easy once over. Chris Carey plows the wall after his steering breaks. Ryan Linder becomes the second driver to use Tony George's tire for a launch pad. Rick Treadway barrel rolls after hitting the second turn wall. Michael Lang gets over Travis Wellpott. When Barry Reed and Tim Maynor spilled on September 18th, they might have become the last to do so here in the old baseball stadium. Our disheartened Midwesterners report no more racing is scheduled for the future at the 16th Street Speedway. Properly promoted, this little gladiator pit 2 miles from the Speedway should be a gold mine. Midgets at Bloomington, Indiana. Don Trent takes an easy flip. Juan Smoker dumps hard going into turn 3. Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn goes for a ride after getting over a wheel. Tracy Hines hits the inside tire and wads up a new chassis. Critter Malone gets over a wheel and flips. Randy Cuck finds the cushion too tough to tame. Rick Vaughn takes aim at the concrete at Kokomo, Indiana. Dave Campfield gets over A.J. Bruns at Belle Claire, Illinois. Randy Cuck again, this time at American Legion Speedway. Jeff Flesher is over once at Jacksonville, Illinois. Critter Malone again, this time at Lincoln Park, Indiana. TQs take off flying after another competitor tried to get off the track in front of the field at Twin Cities. While our Midwest tour guides agree to a man, or gal, that wingless sprint cars broad slide side by side like dirt track race cars should, they're not above holding their noses through an occasional wing show. Donnie Schatz over the wheel at Tri-State, Indiana. It's a little crowded for Tom Worley at Belle Claire. Brent Mason catches the berm at Route 66. Ed Klinkhammer tips over at Kokomo. Mike Devers at Jacksonville. Dean Adams in a hard one. 10 years ago, wingless sprint cars were all but vanquished, even here in the traditionalist stronghold of Indiana. The trend reversed itself when teams found out how much hauling thousands of pounds of downforce cost in driveline and suspension parts, and also the fans stayed home. When Tri-State Speedway switched to real sprint cars in 1999, the devolution was complete as all 6 weekly Hoosier operations are liberated. Of course, crashing wingless can be very expensive, but the Indiana philosophy remains leave the wings on airplanes and drive safely. Some only have it half right. We are at Bloomington, where it happens to the best. Jerry Coons is out of here. Jack Hewitt gets sideways on the front stretch before flipping. Ray Kennings flips at Lincoln Park in Putmanville. Kent Christian sends Brad Fox up and over. Eric Burns gets over Rick Hayden. Rodney Argo gave her the big pitch during hot laps, and here is the result. Levi Jones bicycles and takes Andy Postman with him. Will Newland and Trey House in blue flip hard on the start of the feature. Hud Cone finds the track a little too tacky as Alan Harker clicks away. Ray Kennins takes a rough ride down the backstretch. Dustin Smith gets over Scott Orr and takes a nasty ride. Eric Gordon hits the inside tire and dumps it. Tracy Hines flips after getting over those infamous infield tires. Tony Jones catches a first turn crater. The yellow is out as Will Newland gets over Rodney Argo at Kokomo. Kevin Doty hits the wall first. And now here comes Levi Jones. Tri-State Speedway. Greg Dillian bikes over while leading his heat race. Troy Link gets over a wheel and flips down the backstretch. Gary Blum gets over Jerry Rubel. Terre Haute. John Heidenreich gets into Dave Steele, resulting in this flip. Brian Tyler over Kenny Carmichael's wheel in turn 1. Some tracks indeed are legendary in their own right. Welcome to the paved hills of Winchester, Indiana. Not only the most awe-inspiring, but also the second oldest active speedway, predated only by Indianapolis. Matt Estep and his midget and Scott Anderson and his baby Grand both walked away from backstretch spills. The infamous DuQuoin State Fair hayrides may soon be just memories, as cement is scheduled on the list of improvements here. But we're not sure which we'd rather hit on the high-speed mile. ARCA drivers, including Mark Gibson and Silver Crown star Ron Burke, were all uninjured. Here's another little joint that could only happen in the Midwest. Eldora claims the world's fastest half mile of dirt. And it ain't bragging if you can do it. USAC wingless competition is almost a religious experience here. Indeed, quick racers' prayers by several drivers will all be answered. Johnny Parsons spins and Jason Robbins has nowhere to go. Tim Cox shows what happens when the stagger goes the wrong way. John Nervo flips as we look over the midgets. Rick Treadway tangles with Travis Wellpipe. Rick flips, and along comes Doug Border. Bill Rose flips his midget 7 times down the front stretch, just minutes before dumping his big car during the spectacular USAC 4th Round Nationals. The sprint cars were not left out. J.J. Yaley jumps the cushion in turn 1 and flips. Tim Clark runs over a loose wheel and joins the Upside Down Club. While non-wing racing certainly extracts more from the driver, we question purist claims that it takes more finesse to control a real sprint car through time trials than a wing car all of race night. But the following offers food for thought. Watch and listen as Jim Cox, Aaron Mosley, Levi Jones, Todd Hepfner, Justin Marvel, Tracy Hines, Matt Gillis, Richard Jackson, and Brad Knopfsinger escape injury.
lap time for Todd. And Todd has some problems going into turns 1 and 2, gets upside down.
We begin our heavy metal segment back east as the street stocks tangle at Wall Stadium. Still in New Jersey and Big Jim Murdoch country, the stalkers take to New Egypt. Kevin Bafulco is on his lid. Spider Eisinger is on his side. The modifieds toss Kenny Wismer. A close-up of Mike Hendershot. John Romano fillets one at East Windsor. Problems on the backstretch at Expo Speedway in Ohio. The classic cars mix it up at Susquehanna.
We got one upside down in turn number 4.
Hagerstown, Maryland. Modified leapfrog, but the landing is a little rough. Selins Grove presents big block late models every Sunday night.
Jim Yoder going up on the guardrail and rolling over.
The Lynn Speedway can be proud of its pure stock racers who seldom back off. Valley presents many classes of stock cars during the racing season.
Good to see Jason Covert back out. 2 cars banging, and Ed Jones goes up on his side. The car now comes back down.
Silver Springs has the limited late models or the street stocks, and some nights both. The Silver Springs street stocks visited Lincoln on one occasion this year. Very similar in appearance, the Thunder cars are regulars here at Lincoln.
Turn 2.
We wind up our heavy metal segment for the year with a couple colossals from Port Royal. And we'll stay here at Port Royal as we begin to wind up the season. Labor Day includes the Classic on the racetrack, along with all you can eat just outside. Allison and Celine Schaeffer are among the big crowd that knows the best food of all at the fair is served at the Lutheran Church stand. The Cars Sprints were added to the Classic this year with great results and 43 racers. The lower-powered cars actually seemed racier on the track that was slicked over to start with, Hagerstown style. And it actually worked out well for an afternoon surface with less dust as the rubber built up on the track. Jim Layton gives the ambulance crew his autograph after a hard crash during qualifying. Terry Leininger gets a little warm. Just after Tracy Templin flipped, things got wet and we had a 4-day rain delay. Babe Mater, number 1, leads as the feature is greened as part of the Tuscarora 50 weekend. Early on, Mike Enders lost power on the backstretch. After a couple near misses, a not-so-gentle shove by Bob Beitelman sent Mike for a ride on the rail. Here's a second look. As you might have guessed, Bob's ride was no picnic either. Bob nods he's okay, but the car is out for the night. Five laps to go. Darren Ash is in the number 30 this time, and he completes his winning charge from 13th starting spot, taking the lead from Mater.
Ash looking to the outside again. Off of turn 4, Darren Ash shooting race leader.
Mater would give up the second position to Kevin Drury. Darren's wing problem has little effect.
I tell you, the nicest fans in the country are right here at this racetrack. I can go away forever. People come up to me, I haven't seen in years and years, and hey, how you doing and all that. They got some nice people up here. Other racetracks have nice people too, but there are special people here.
The 410 feature, also carried over from Labor Day, begins with Will Kramer getting a hard slap from Alan Cole.
Rymer all over on the restart.
Fred Rymer, 77, works first position from the 55 of Mike Wagner. Wagner bounces over a tire. Jeff Shepard, number 1, is on the edge. On the edge of victory, passing Fast Freddy on the 17th lap. Donnie Kreitz would finish second, with Rymer hanging on for third.
Shepard takes the race lead off turn 2.
The 2-day Tuscarora 50 is an all-star deal. Dave Haley from Sinking Springs, number 77, leads the whole way over All-Star Kenny Jacobs and the Port's own Lance DeWeese.
The other thing, I think we were doing a little looking up here. Correct us if we're wrong. I believe this is your first career sprint car win. Is that right?
First career 410 sprint car win.
Well, you certainly picked yourself one heck of a place to do it and a heck of a time. And I believe with the All-Stars, this is what, your 19th win this year? 19th different winner?
Yeah, I don't know how many different winners they had, but I'm just glad to put myself in those record books. We had a hell of a good crowd and field here tonight, and whenever you can beat these guys, you can go home feeling pretty damn good.
The Tuscarora 50 used to be a showcase event for the fastest half mile in the East. This year, the port surface was as slicked over as any Labor Day show. Oh well, who can blame them? That's the way the Outlaws would do it, so it's got to be right. 43 sprinters fight for the groove. Todd Gracie nearly left the joint after contact with Greg Hudnett. Donnie Kreitz leads every lap for $10,000. Rymer second with Lance DeWeese third.
He's got to be happy. Donnie Kreitz, congratulations. By golly, you made it look easy.
Thanks. Davey Brown and the crew, they just had this car set up perfectly. Thing was so easy to drive. I don't know how we could have made it any better.
Also on September 11th, Daring Dan Dietrich, number 8, makes his return to victory lane for the first time since suffering near-fatal head injuries here at Lincoln in 1996. Dan's popular win comes after a pass of Joe Wilk during the 358 championship.
Most of all, I just won this one for everybody that supports me, including the fans and my family and my pit crew, sponsors. Everybody stood behind me ever since I came back,
Selins Grove, September 12th. Fred Rymer, 77, takes first from the 88 of Joey Borich.
Rymer down low, and it looks like he's going to take the lead off too.
A couple of laps later, things really get bad for Joey as he tangles with a wall, and Port Royal champ Keith Kaufman. Kurt Michael finished second with Selins Grove Point champ Todd Schaeffer third. Also on September 12th, the USAC Sprints return to Western PA and the Tri-City Speedway. Doug Kikich hangs it on the fencing during warm-ups. It's $4,000 for Dave Darland over Jay Drake and Tony Elliott in what hopefully will become an annual event. September 17th, 38 410 sprinters are at Williams Grove. A makeup feature is first on the menu. Brooke Weibley flips after losing a tire. 23-year-old Cliff Bryan from Ephrata starts on the pole in one of the Walt Dyer 461s and makes the most of it.
Oh, this is the best feeling. This is a dream come true for me. I mean, to win here at Williams Grove, if I get one win in my career at Williams Grove, if I get one win, I'm happy. And I want to I owe everything to Walt Dyer and all the guys that help out, because if it wasn't for him and all the great guys, I might have never had a chance.
35 limiteds are on hand for the season 25-lap finale. Terry Leininger squeaked out the point championship at Lincoln, but Chris Ace will prevail here at the Grove. Terry would be back to manage a second in the feature. Tom Frechetta, number 3, leads over Babe Mater and Eric Pattison as the field sorts out.
Turn number 3. Watch them go at it off 4. Who's going to lead lap number 1?
Lancaster's Doug Esch, number 6, who started 12th, has come on strong late in the season, picking up his second Grove win by passing Tom on lap 7. Besides Cliff Bryan, Jimmy Carr also has a ride in one of the 2 Dyer cars tonight. On a restart in the regularly scheduled 410 feature, Cliff leads over Jimmy, but the latter gets into trouble.
Thompson goes by Shepherd and Carr. Lynn Thompson, look out, we've got trouble on the front stretch.
Todd Schaeffer, Carr, and Keith Kaufman flipped in the crash, with Carr the worst, but everyone is okay. Greg Hudnett in the Apple 12 works his restart magic once more, zooming past both Jeff Shepard and leader Cliff Bryan for the win after starting in 12th position. In the end, Lance DeWeese and Len Thompson tailed Greg across the finish. September 18th, Brian Gobrecht will open some eyes at the Selins Grove National Open. Brian's number 92 looks strong, leading for 10 laps until Todd Schaeffer appears in front. Todd led until the 13th lap when fast Freddie Rymer is just that. Rymer wins $5 grand on a track he described as too scary fast. Hudnett finished 3rd behind Schaeffer. A racetrack is much more than property. On race night, it comes alive with atmosphere and camaraderie. No more so anywhere than Silver Spring, where the 100 is on tap tonight. Brian Rhodes was taken to the hospital with leg injuries following this spill in qualifying. The race for the lead in the 100-lapper never let up. By the full race tape. John Stoner was the common denominator, first battling Frankie Herr, number 3.
Stoner now takes the lead.
Then the yellow deuce of point champ Carmen Perigo. Finally, John's number 4 is back and forth in lap traffic with Leroy Martin, 66. John certainly picked a good night for his first one of the season, and it's worth $5,000. Martin and Perigo followed Stoner across the line. On Sunday, the 19th, Cars conducts its 4th annual National Open at Susquehanna. The very well-run show featured nearly 50 top-notch 358s and spills by Brian Buckwalter and Tony Smolinac. When the draw put Mike Lehman, 59, on the pole, the race was for second. Dan Dietrich, number 8, put on the show, advancing from 13th to pass Steve Siegel in the 30 today, for second before losing his tread and slipping to 7th at the end of the 35-lapper. Rusty Presley wound up 3rd behind Siegel. Kevin Drury and Dale Hamaker tied for the Cars' point championship.
Yeah, Vaccari, he might own this racetrack, but I own it with the 358s. If you're going to come here and beat me, you better have your crap together. Like I said, this one's from our grandpa. He's at home sick, you know, but Grandpa, we miss you, man.
September 24th, the Super Sportsmen are at Williams Grove. Don't ask Tim White to walk a straight line right now. Mechanicsburg's Dave Berkheimer disposes of the competition, including Matt Ondeck and Steve Cannon. It's the Macri Concrete number 5's first win of the season. Frankie Herr finished 2nd with Jim Shuttlesworth 3rd.
Who's going to be coming off? Watch the Sportsman race through 3 and 4.
Were you starting to hear noises the last couple of laps there tonight?
I'll tell you what, I saw my own shadow going into 1 and 2, and I thought it was Frankie because I saw him on the board.
The sprinters get off to a wild start. That's Rick Lafferty climbing the wall and launching into a double roll. Todd Hester gets into turn 3, too hot. The feature goes non-stop. James Chesson, 22, takes over from Dave Haight, 10, on the 11th lap. But again, it's red-hot Greg Hodnett coming all the way from 12th to lead on the 14th lap. Chesson held on to second with Fred Rymer third. The historic Gratz Fairgrounds echoes again to the sound of racing engines thanks to the Atlantic Coast Old-Timers, who put on an exhibition during the fair. Despite drop-offs on both sides of the track, racing was actually conducted right here during the 40s and 50s, as the vintage films prove. If you don't think they were close, check out the still frame. Unfortunately, the beautiful day at the fair mood suddenly soured as we heard the G-Man was going. Among our priceless memories, we'll be having the privilege of seeing much of Kevin Gobre's career. First, as the area's micro-sprint superstar during the early 90s. His immediate wins in the ill-fated but very fast mini-sprints. Kevin ruled tracks like Trailway, Path Valley, and Linda's before moving up to the sprinters and picking up his first win at Lincoln in 1995. At the end of the season, Kevin was named National Sprint Car Rookie of the Year. The G-Man continued his struggle to success, fielding his own equipment, scoring the win in the Williams Grove 1996 opener. Then the well-deserved breaks came as he was named driver of the Apple number 12. Who can forget his weekly rough-and-tumble slide job battles with Fred Rymer at Lincoln? Late in '98, Kevin took over one of the Zemco cars and promptly scored his first Outlaw win, passing a fuel-starved Jeff Shepard on the final turn at Williams Grove. Early in 1999, the team clicked so well that few would argue the number 1 with Kevin in charge was the fastest sprint car in the world. But of course, Kevin wanted to move up and accepted the World of Outlaw ride with the Amoco team, soon winning the $100,000 historical big one at Eldora. Kevin lost his life racing in Nebraska, and while the decade of the 90s has been fatality-free here in the PA circuit, there will always be a large asterisk beside 1999. At Lincoln the next night, the racers seemed to be on the gas just a little harder. The G-Man would have had it no other way. Cliff Bryan and rookie Pat Cooper are flip victims during qualifying. The feature story here on Manufacturers Appreciation Night is Greg Hodnett's number 12 wiring the field, and Nicky Young suffering rib and arm injuries in a third-turn flip. October 1st, Casey Kane is the new surprise Zemco driver as 48 sprinters are ready for the Williams Grove National Open. Out of the 11 Outlaw shows we covered this year, this is one of the 2 that was not won from the front row. Chris A, 17, started third and moved up an entire row to the lead with an impressive pass of Lance DeWeese. Casey Kane meets a spinning Andy Hillenberg. Thanks to starting up front from heat race wins, the PA passers sweep the top 3, with Rymer second and DeWeese third.
Winning all them 358 features couldn't have been this much fun.
Boy, I tell you, Bruce, I'm speechless, man. This is probably one of the greatest days of my life. This race is for Kevin Gobre. He's the man.
The weekend included several classy tributes to Kevin Gobre, thanks to the World of Outlaws and Williams Grove. Saturday night problems for Dave Haight. Alaskan John McDonald flips and says hello to Jerry Speck. The front row was Fred Rymer and Mark Kinzer. Freddie's number 77 leads down the back on the final lap, but it ain't over till the front side. DeWeese and Ace will finish third and fourth. But it's outlaw Mark Kinzer who's $25,000 richer.
I think this might be one of my most memorable races of all time. I don't think I ever had one to where I thought I was out until the very last corner. And like I said, we just had just a little bit of window there, and we took it.
I don't know. I'm happy with second, but it's...
You're not happy.
No, it sucks, but...
October 3rd, the Super Sportsmen make a rare Hagerstown, Maryland appearance on a beautiful afternoon. Dennis Wiley rides over last year's Hagerstown winner, Jerry Strauser, and tips it. Steve Wilbur leads in the Land O'Lakes Butter number 59. Pat Cannon and Mark Smith tangle into the rail. During the yellow, leader Wilbur's engine expired. Steve Cannon, number 23, now leads. Second place, Donnie Beaver, Fishtails, and Ken Carberry in the green 47 moves into second. Despite being on a slick day surface, Ken Carberry moves up from 16th starting spot to make the winning pass on the 29th of the 35-lapper. Ken pilots the Clarence Snyder-owned car and hails from Levittown. Cannon held on to second.
Yeah, you know, the tour in general is tough everywhere you go. I think everybody knows that. We just do our best every week. Sometimes it's 10th or 20th, and sometimes you win. So we just try and do our best.
October 15th, Lincoln. The rain-delayed Kenny Weld Memorial is off with a hard flip by Ed Fischel. URC champ Shawn Michael is leading in the 461. Right at home in his own car is Chris Ace, 17, who takes over on the 10th of the 40 laps. Despite a time trial format, the draw-in version and the PA passers come through, as Lance DeWeese, 88, completes a winning charge from 8th starting spot against the stiff competition, with this pass only 2 laps from the finish. Out of brakes, Ace actually slipped to third behind Greg Hodnett in the final turn. October 16th, the fans are into the second annual Penn Classic at Williams Grove. Jimmy Linton's into the rail. Lance DeWeese leads, but here comes Greg Hodnett from 6th starting spot for his 5th win of the season, tying him with Fred Rymer for most feature wins at the Grove this year. Rymer finished 3rd behind DeWeese. Greg may be leaving the circuit for next year. If so, it's been a real privilege, Greg. The Penn Classic includes the Modifieds, who thrilled the crowd with this endo by Ben Hatt. Certainly the heaviest car to flip at the Grove this season. After the Grove, the big weekend continues with another Lincoln makeup show. Danny Warwick crashed during the 358 hot laps. Father and son have one of their not-so-happy get-togethers. Jim Layton spins as Chad flips. The U1 appears to be relieving itself. It's great to see Carlisle's Dave Callman back in a race car, winning in the Tom Kennedy Rebel number 7 to be exact. Bob Fisher and Mike Lehman followed.
This is a great division. A lot of evenly matched cars. That makes for good features all the time. You got to work in this division.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot tougher than it was when it started. You got a lot of cars that can win any night, so it's tough.
The 410s race for starting spots in the Bobby Abel Memorial, with Donnie Kreitz getting rooted from behind, which leads in turn to a double flip with Rodney Duncan. Casey Kane rides over in turn 4. The race for first was pretty much canceled when 99 Williams Grove and Lincoln point champ Fred Rymer drew the pole, although lap traffic kept Freddie on his toes. Here, Glendon Forsythe cartwheels after contact with the leader. More problems for Dave Haight, with Shawn Michael also involved, and eventual second-place finisher Todd Schaeffer scraping by. Minus his nose wing, Rymer's first win here since July is worth almost $4,000. Johnny Mackison followed Schaeffer for 3rd. The micro sprint feature drivers for the Kevin Gobre Memorial Race, October 23rd at Trailway. A few words from announcer Joe Mengel, Kevin's nephew Mitchell, and brother Brian.
I was doing a TV show for the Southern Motorsports Hour, and it was the opener at Lincoln. And it just so happened to be Kevin's first race in a super sprint. And I interviewed him before he went out, and I asked him how nervous he was. And he said, you know, Joe, he said, seeing you here makes me feel like I'm back at Trailway Speedway again, and it made him feel good. And I'll never forget those words as long as I live. Mitchell?
God, please, keep Kevin safe and all the other drivers, and don't make the show tight. In Jesus' name, amen.
It's strange coming out here and watching the micros run and realizing that, you know,
watching Kevin race out here so many years, and a lot of times it was one of those deals just kind of figured he was going to win the race, and it's a shame to come back here and watch the micros under this kind of circumstance, but again, it's nice to know we have this many friends out here that we can come here and they'll put on a race like this, and it makes us really proud. We had the brother we had in Kevin, and also proud of the relationship we have with the racers and also the track. Thank you.
Sometimes it doesn't. We're getting the signal for the sprint car to pull off the Lynn Schaeffer.
Jay Galloway Jr. is one of several flips. Jim Myers almost is. You racers who tire of us showing parts getting bent, here's some sweet revenge. That's what's left of our remote camera in front of Lyle Stroman's racer. Lyle is A-OK. The car was slightly damaged. The camera is totaled. Kevin Nouse leads Chad Trout, Mike Dicely, and the field home.
And Trailways for having this race, and it's a shame it had to be the Kevin Gobre Memorial, but I'm glad I won the first one. You know, I raced with him. I won fast when he was, and he dusted me every damn week, and you know, it means a lot.
Win or lose, I want to tell you, all these drivers are champions in my book, and I want to let you with one thought in mind. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Steve Book reporting here at the Pennsylvania State Farm Show. God bless, happy holidays, and remember, Lynn Schaeffer Productions covering the racing action here. Order a tape before you leave. We'll catch you in a rebound. Thank you and good night.
We'll leave you this year with 1998 Hagerstown Oktoberfest and Wall Stadium Turkey Derby leftovers. Thanks to all the people, now way too numerous to mention, who help in so many ways to make this production and all the memories herein possible. Your Central PA camera persons are Audrey Boyd, Jeff Hall, Fred Klunk, Steve and Doug Gigius, Red Weiland, Barry Boyd, Jim Murdoch, with get well wishes to Todd Oakletree. Much of the Silver Spring footage thanks to Kirk Wise from W100 radio fame.